Hello, everybody. My name's True Demon, and I am the Devil's Stockbroker. Well, this has been it. This is the final day for trading in market year 2022. It's been a hell of a road, and Hell's Trading Floor, for its first year, has experienced some crazy ups and downs. And along with the rest of you, we have seen some both good days and bad days in the market. This is the year to date marker for 2022, and by far, we have seen some ridiculous fluctuations in the market. The worst performing stock winner goes to Tesla, which is down 67.8% on the SPY. Other big tickers like Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Google, Apple, AMD, Texas Instruments, Nvidia, Cisco, all suffering massive losses across the market. The best sector performing overall was the energy minerals sector, with Exxon leading the entire pack at 80% growth year to date. Healthcare was the largest mixed sector, with Johnson & Johnson and Eli Lilly and AbbVie performing the best out of the top 10, and Pfizer down 12.4%. The S&P began its journey this year, January 3rd, 2022, and has ended it today, December 30th, 2022, beginning at a price of $478.65 and closing today at $382.43, with the lowest low in the S&P going to $348.11. Overall, the market is down approximately 20% since it began January 3rd, 2022. One of the worst performing years for the SPY on record to date. This bear market has been punctuated by a massive real estate crash, yields and bonds crash, multiple crises internationally capped by inflation, and massive rising and overvaluation of currencies, especially the US dollar, multiple energy crises, and a war in the Ukraine which threatens to send the world into World War III. To say the least, it's been an interesting year for the S&P. For the S&P, the SPY went basically sideways, only gapping down and ending slightly green from its open today, red from yesterday's close. And really, the market has set itself up for a tremendous fall going into January. For some really quick technical analysis, what I see here for the S&P is we've got what is essentially a head and shoulders setup beginning to form, with my expectation that we are going to see the shoulder form out and reject off of the 100 period EMA before collapsing down and seeing continuous declines going into the spring of 2023. This will almost perfectly mirror the same setup that we had from August of 2022, where we had this big head and shoulders formation that ended in a tremendous fall, glorious recovery to the 100 EMA, then a final collapse that saw the market retracing by about 12.8%. So coming out of the gates of January, I do expect the market to trend a little bit bullishly, but ultimately I expect us to continue this bear market well into the first half of 2023. After all, we've got a lot of bad things happening in the news, between home builders being shown as woefully behind on schedule getting their houses up for sale. Numerous construction problems and issues with the real estate market have been plaguing the entire market overall for the last 6 months. The 10-year Treasury yield is going back into an uptrend, which is a terrible signal for the market, expecting for it to continue to move to the upside, which causes devaluation of stocks, and therefore the S&P is expected to trend down. As you can see from this overview of the XLRE index, which is a SPDR fund to represent the real estate sector, I've been trading this based on this head and shoulders pattern and a triple top formation that resulted in a huge drop to the downside. We have consolidated and are ready to continue even further to the downside and test the bottom of this channel sometime by the end of March of 2023. And of course, with the gold market absolutely ripping, it's very obvious to see that everybody is beginning to flee from the dollar and go into the metals market, which is one final sign of late stage market crash. As you can see from the dollar index, it's been trending down with this descending wedge, but continued to move to the downside even after it broke out of the top of the wedge, indicating that the pattern is beginning to fail, that if we see it collapse down past 102.50 that we can expect the dollar to continue to move to the downside as inflation is brought to heel and everybody's valuations of their equity begins to falter. And this is echoed by the devaluation of high-yield corporate bonds on the HYG sector, which you can see a very similar two-top or head and shoulder formation beginning to form up, with the expectation that we will get a rejection off of this 100-period EMA very similarly to the SPY before it heads to the downside. We see this lead the S&P further down. But thankfully, it's not all doom and gloom. For Hell's trading floor is finally exiting all of its paper traded positions. This is an account that was created by myself at and this is a paper trading account, by the way, began the year in May 2022. We started the account balance at $10,000 and just trading pure stocks based on, quote, margin rules. This overall portfolio is now up to $67,441.75. So this was our performance. That's more than a 600% gain in total on the total portfolio, which I gotta say, I'm really proud of my own personal performance here. This was all trading just my own ideas, and as you can see, we've tracked quite a lot of tickers, mainly focusing on blue chip stocks. Occasionally, we played a few big memes such as BBIG, which this position was closed out. This was by far our biggest loss, which would have seen the account ending if we had not taken this trade somewhere in the neighborhood of $80,000 on the total account balance, which would have meant a 800% gain. And I'm not doing this to gloat or anything. After all, this is just funny money. This is just a demo account. But the purpose of showing this is just how profitable you can be over the long term, trading just very, very small wins and being consistently profitable over time, keeping your losses as small as possible and letting the big wins carry your portfolio up continuously over time. To put it into perspective, 2022 has been a truly crazy year. For one, I never expected to be starting my own Discord server or a trading community that was going to grow so large so quickly, or the success that we were going to experience in just that short of time. I never expected things like the Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX scandal to completely pull the rug on the entire market and precipitate one of the worst crashes we've ever seen in crypto market history. Although I will say that we anticipated a housing market crash, to see it happen before our very eyes on the scale that it has really has left me so sobered and dumbfounded by the true cataclysmic result of all the irresponsibility and the fervor that the market of 2021 brought down on us just one short year later. And on a similar note, how coming on the other side of the COVID pandemic, we're experiencing the worst endemic poverty that we have ever witnessed in this country since the Great Depression. And although it was a extremely painful lesson, retail learned what the other side of short squeezes and MOASs look like after watching GameStop, AMC, BBIG, HKD, and dozens of other squeeze tickers look like firsthand. It's been a hell of a year. And while we've had serious ups and downs, we've experienced volatility and some of the wildest news stories, scandals, and socially upheaving events of this entire century. I gotta say, I'm really glad that I was here for it. I want to take this moment to reflect on all of the individuals of Hell's Trading Floor, both the mods, the staff, and the individuals who supported us through our long journey through 2022. A massive thank you to all of those who stuck with us since the beginning and those of you just joining us now for being a part of it. And although the journey has been brief, it has been spectacular. It's been a true learning experience for me and everybody involved, I'm sure. And I hope that those of you who are still with us will enjoy great success in the next year to come. We will see you next year, but until then, have a hell of a time in the markets.